All right, you are tuned in to The Wizard, WZRD Chicago, 88.3 FM on your radio dial. And we just heard a live set from our special guest in the studio tonight, Moon Array Delta. Just want to say thank you so much for coming by the station. Yeah, dude, from what I understand, it's been quite a while since you've been down here to the station, but of course we at The Wizard are very happy to have you back, especially since we get to hear some of your new production in the mix.
Yeah, I actually took a good few years off kind of from music and just kind of doing it for fun a little bit as a hobby in the background, and got revitalized really actually on a trip to Hawaii to visit my mom and spent some time with my cousin on Oahu, and his friends are really big EDM scene, and a few of them DJ, and just spinning with them, like spinning out on the beach.
Oh my God, that had to have been incredible.
Yeah, just kind of reignited the passion and the love, and like figured rather than just spinning, practicing in my house, like might as well get back out there a little bit, and started making some remixes. And
well, let's not to get too far ahead of ourselves. How did you get started with DJing and music in general? So school band in music. I played drums and percussion in school band. And that's awesome.
8th grade, transferred schools and didn't have band anymore.
Okay.
So I convinced my mom. We took my drum set to the pawn shop, and I went and got a turntable and a mixer, a little Gemini with a built-in sampler, so I could do like 8-second loops.
Oh wow!
And just had like one table in the mixer at first, and
this is when you were in high school when you started?
8th grade. Yeah.
8th grade, started as DJ. Wow, that's incredible.
And then and
what inspired you to move in from drum kits to DJing?
One, lived in a small Chicago apartment and just didn't really have the space for the drum set, honestly.
Of course, okay.
And still wanting to make music and kind of the percussion background, the beat matching and kind of all of that aligned, right? And
so was there anyone that inspired you then particularly to become a DJ? Or any artist or anything like that?
What really inspired me, like I started out kind of big in turntablism, and like turntablism and hip hop focus kind of,
dude.
With like then getting into music, some ghetto house, but yeah, like the Executioners, DJ Craze is still one of my favorites.
Yo, hell yeah.
And yeah, like A-Track doing it as a shorty, right? Like kind of inspiring me.
Oh man, A-Track, I mean, come on, he was like the youngest to ever win a DMC championship. That guy won it when he was like 12, 13 or something like that, for real.
Yeah. So yeah, that kind of was my start.
Right on.
And then
so you got the decks. You started doing some playing, some turntablism. Mm-hmm. What made you move then into production?
In high school, started a hip hop group with a few friends. We actually, a few of them now are still doing their thing. Rebel Diaz, shout out to G1.
Yo.
Yeah, we had a little super group, kind of Wu-Tang-esque. With like 10 of us, and kind of then fractured, but still kept it up. And me and a couple of my buddies had a group basis, Loaded Coalition, for a good 5-6 years probably. Kind of into college years, still recording, did a little bit of music, but really just doing it for self, like the MySpace days, right? Like there was only so much you could really do, like distribution wise, independently, and so yeah, just getting into that, like, got me into mixing and recording and production and making beats, focusing on hip-hop a lot, of kind of sampling. And then...
What made you make that move then from, say, hip-hop into, say, more of, like, the ghetto house and footwork now that we heard in your set tonight?
Yeah, just... Again, something I've always loved. When I started DJing, that was kind of the other passion, like throwing house parties in Chicago. I went to Lincoln Park High School, and we'd throw parties in the basement of Bacino's.
Oh, okay.
Right over on Lincoln, just DJing and playing like juke and booty house, and got really into that, and had friends whose parents were really big into house, and so kind of got a lot of exposure to that from them.
Man, Chicago kids are so lucky, man. Their parents, some of them grew up in like the heyday of house, so it's like that stuff pops on, and they're like, boy, let me tell you.
Right.
That's so rad, dude. Okay.
And just kind of then went into open format from there, and progressed and did a couple. I've done like school proms while I was in high school kind of thing, and was doing like a bunch of friends, everything from like quinceañeras, birthday parties, did some weddings even while I was in high school. Just
damn, the early start, right on, dude. Okay.
I actually had a cool little American DJ, like the most rickety brand that you think of, right? But like pre-Serato, like DVS on almost anyone else that I know of, like they had a DVS controller with like a single sine wave vinyl. So it wasn't time coded, right? But it was just like bare bones basic DVS that hooked up to like a rack CDJ.
Oh wow!
The CDJ took MP3 CDs, so I could just like bring all these collections and just like CDJ, DJ, but then bring my one turntable and kind of like scratch things in. And,
yo, hell yeah, dude!
I did all sorts of kind of parties and worked as like a rent-a-DJ, right? And kind of doing that circuit. Went through the whole open format thing, and then after taking the break with music, kind of coming back to it, and decided like that's part of what killed the joy for me, right? Like is having to make the rounds and play the music that you don't necessarily want to play just because that's what the gig calls for, and that's what like you need to do to make the bills for the month, right?
You know it, man.
And so I backed out of music because of that, transferred to like videography, photography. I've always done like graphic design and stuff too, and went just back to my roots of like doing it for me and doing it for fun and in my house, and then kind of progressing from that to like, all right, well now do what I was doing for fun and enjoying a little bit and do that out for the public a little bit more.
Awesome, man. Well, we're definitely happy to have you here in the studio tonight, and definitely glad that you have decided to come back out and be spinning live, because I had to say, you sent me a couple tracks, man, and you got some badass remixes going on.
Yeah.
Is this for an upcoming release?
I've got a couple of things coming out. I have a original single that's actually coming out next week on the 14th that'll be on like all the streaming platforms and available for sale. But then I also have a Bun B remix album that I'm doing, taking his new Yokozuna Trill album that he did out in Japan like about a month ago now, or I guess about a month and a half now, and taking that and the samples, it's all Japanese producers, and like the juke and footwork scene is really big out there, so you can kind of like hear the inspiration, but then they're trying to make it like southern Bun B beats, and they're great. It's amazing production, and it's an amazing album, and so I just heard it though and was like, this needs to be footwork.
Yo.
And so I'm taking and kind of mashing it up with some classic footwork tracks and sampling classic footwork, essentially, using some like stem separation to pull some drums and bass lines and chopping them up and arranging them to fit the Bun B tracks. And
you gonna send this to Bun B when it's done?
Gonna try. Through connections, I might actually be able to a little bit.
Dude.
Back in the day, did some stuff with like a Holt, and so I know they're really close with each other.
Word.
He's got a good relationship with Bun B, so maybe he can slide it to him for me.
I was gonna say, I think Nigel was just in town not too long ago also.
Yeah, I saw about that. I moved 2 years ago down to Peoria now, so I'm not in the city all the time, but I still have family up here, so I pop up and close friends. So whenever I have the chance, I come up. I'm just a couple hours away down in Peoria. So
right on, man. Awesome. Well, I'm definitely glad that you were able to make the trip tonight. Come here to the Wizard, spin us a live set down here in the studio, show us off some of the new production that you got going on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Man, it's definitely my pleasure. So if any of our listeners are unfamiliar, obviously, with any of Moon Array Delta, where can they look you up online? Where can they find your music?
Yeah, so I got a nice, easy, short link, ffm.bio/mad. And then also that will take you to all my SoundCloud, Facebook, Instagram. I just signed up to TikTok relentless. kind of just felt I needed to. I never used TikTok before in my personal, but just kind of for the marketing, getting it out there, the
Of
way
course.
the algorithm works with it, I just needed to throw in there.
Of course, man.
But yeah, and then I have my music on SoundCloud and Bandcamp, and like I said, coming soon to all the streaming platforms. So.
Excellent. Well, again, we're so happy to have had you down here tonight. Thank you so much for DJing here for a live set, and congratulations on the new upcoming releases. This 1B remix album is tight. If you guys did not hear any of the tracks, make sure you to follow Moon Array Delta online. You can get some of his new upcoming music and possibly a copy of the set tonight. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much for coming through, bro. Have a safe trip back, and we'll have to have you back down here to the Wizard real soon.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, you guys stay tuned here to the Wizard, WZRD Chicago, 88.3 FM on your radio dial. I'll be your Wizard here tonight until midnight. If you have any questions, comments, or requests, give me a call, 773-442-4578. And make sure to check us out streaming online at wzrdchicago.org. We're going to dive back in the music. I'll catch you back in about 45. Stay tuned. It's The Wizard.
Please